Welcome back, everyone. Lance Scurv X here. It looks like it's going to rain, so I don't know if I'm going to have to cut this short. The sun was out just beautiful a little while ago. We got some vicious looking clouds coming, but that's not going to stop me. Not even the little gnats and bugs that fly around my head when I'm trying to talk. Anyway, I look like I'm crazy, right? But that's what it is when you're out in nature, right? And when the bugs come at you, that might be a good sign. You're alive. Anyway, I wanted to speak about the effects of smartphones on people. And many of us already know, many of us have already talked about it, but it just seems like something that is even worse than we could ever imagine. Most people don't realize it, and a lot of us already know that the usage of the smartphone and getting on social media and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, it does something to your brain. I'm noticing that there's so many, I'm not blaming or picking on the younger generations. I'm going to say it this way. I noticed that a lot of folks in the younger generations, they're blanking out. Something's not connecting as it should. Older folks, yeah, it could affect them, but they know something different. They know a world without the smartphone. So those who are born in it, where they know nothing else, they don't know a world without a tablet, without a smartphone, without text messaging, without emails, without the computer. They were born into this. So it's going to affect their brain from young. I remember the days where we would color a coloring book with crayons. I remember the days that we would read books and have to actually physically write a book report after we read it, which means we had to comprehend it. Our brains are not worked the way they used to be before. And it's affecting everybody. But I believe it's affecting the younger generations more because certain parts of the brain that we had to have developed, they're not developing at all. And I don't even have to have some type of scientific survey to prove this. Just look around you. Children many years ago, in the times that I came up in at almost 63 and 6 more days, they enjoy being the first one in school to have the answer. Oh, teacher, I got the answer. Pick me. When a teacher asks the question to the classroom, they say, okay, what is the circumference of the earth, or whatever it may be, and you knew it. You wanted to let the teacher know that you knew it because you had it in your head. You studied. You had an intimate relationship with those books and the facts, and you took time and you read it. And it's also been proven that reading from a smartphone, a tablet, or off the computer doesn't retain the information as good as when you have a book. There's something about that blue light. Now, I'm on the computer a lot. I'm on the smartphone a lot. But that's not what I depend on. I already have it here. I already have my thoughts, and I'm developed as to who I am right now over decades. This thing came later on in my life. I was already formed, right? But many of our youngsters, many of our children, they're like concrete. When you put out a concrete sidewalk and it's wet concrete and somebody steps in it, and you wake up in the morning and you say, wait a second, there's a footprint in there. Somebody put their name in there. It's very much affected. It's open. It's not formed and not set yet. So when you introduce this smartphone and this technology and this blue light, that you have to have other types of light facing you to not make that thing get into you as much, it will affect you in a deadly way. But what I notice with many of our younger individuals who may be in their 20s, let's just say, for example, could be 30s also, because social media and the smartphones were around back then. Let's go back a little more recent. Those who are, oh man, these flies are dive bombing in his head. They might think it's some type of fly port, but they can just land, right? But you ask them a question, not all the time, extreme, but a lot, even if it's not as extreme. There's a pause, right? And it is very humid out here. There's a pause. You say, excuse me, do you know how to get down to Main Street? And they live in that town and they're like, Main Street? Like, I'm exaggerating a little bit, and sometimes I'm not. People you know sometimes, they're down in the phone, and when you talk to them, you call to them for attention, and they look up at you, blank, and you ask them something, and it's like for a second too long, or 2 or 3 seconds too long, they're processing what you said on a simple level. You know what I mean? You might ask them, well, where did you put the broom in the dustpan? And they come out of the phone and just, oh, I left it in the kitchen next to the stove. Like, it's a drug-like effect. And even if it's not as extreme as the way that I'm saying it, it's a millisecond too long, which shows me it's affecting them. And then because the screen performs for them, they don't have to seek information. Not that they're seeking information anyway. They're sitting there, and whatever comes up next as they scroll is what their brain absorbs. So you're working your brain on senseless information that's not teaching you, and there are some wonderful things online that can teach you stuff, but they're not looking for it. Most of the time, they scroll past anything that makes any sense, right? But the foolish stuff, the low vibrational stuff, that stuff is the stuff that they'll sit there and allow right into their brain. And then later on, they're not functional. Because I remember youngsters would think. They would get a tool or get something if they had a problem with something, and they would find a way to fix it. Now they just break something and they're staring. They don't know what to do. And the more you're into this phone and cyberspace and letting anything in your mind, what do you think is going to come out? Not much. It can be used as a tool to learn, right? Better that you have books. But what can I say? I don't want to make this long. I felt a few drops, but that's the point that I wanted to make, and I will go in deeper, maybe with an article to accompany this. But let me know what you think. Have you seen the difference? If you're of age to know a world without smartphones and the blue screen and computers and tablets, do you see a market change now from back in the day and how youngsters respond? Of course, many of them do not want to go out and play. They don't do that anymore. They grab this thing and it's a mental pacifier, but it's a pacifier that does no good. You know, it's like a baby sucking a bottle, but there's no milk in it. It's poisonous. What it does to our brain in its delivery. Anyway, I am feeling some drops. I'm not trying to get this camera messed up. Lance Scurv out. Let me know what you think, and I will be back when the rain stops. Much love. Peace.